Hey guys, shorter video this week since I went and got a cat today. Well, for you guys watching it, it was last week. I think by now, if I understand my future self enough, that there will be some photos on Twitter, so be sure to follow me there for some of that in addition to the cringy jokes I make. Anyway, today let's talk about time. Why is it that many other atheists and I say that evolution needs time in order to work? Let's find out.
Hey guys, this is Matt Powell. So whenever dealing with an evolutionist, you're going to hear a lot of unsupported assertions and wild claims that aren't based in any reality. A lot of times they're based in fiction or fantasy or something that they saw off Star Trek and Star Wars.
I'd never really seen Star Wars or Star Trek. I'd much rather you say we base our ideas off Pokemon. Wait a minute, I almost fell for your trap.
They don't base what they believe off of observable, testable data.
What are you talking about? Literally, there's data everywhere in the field of evolution. The sequences of DNA is literally observable data. Every single phylogeny tree you see out there was based on some sort of data. For example, DNA comparison. You know, when you do an alignment or multiple alignment, our algorithms can calculate percent similarity, and that information is used to draw the tree. This is just an example of data in biological evolution studies, and is only a drop of water in the ocean of data we have. Anyway, the algorithms are actually so powerful now it can estimate the time when species diverge based on the similarity of genetic information and mutation rates. And many of these tools are available for free use. I've shown this on my channel before, but Ensemble has a great visualization. For example, let's just take a look at a random human gene, such as this one called OPN1LW. We can see what this gene does, the structure of it, and even a map on where it is on our chromosome. In the Ensemble database, we have 295 orthologs and 9 paralogs recorded, giving us a tree that looks like this. This is calculated based on DNA similarity, which is calculated using bioinformatics algorithms, which is created to read genetic sequences. Everything is about data and how we interpret it in evolution and biology as a whole. Don't tell me that we don't use observable data, because that statement is simply false.
And on the contrary, they will go running to time as a mechanism to support their unsupported assertions, and they'll say, if you give it enough time, anything could happen.
Not anything can happen, but a lot of evolutionary changes would indeed need time in order to be possible. If you have something like a pool and you slowly drop food coloring inside of it, a few days isn't enough for you to see much difference. But if you give it, say, a year, then the entire pool would have changed color. Of course, this is just an analogy, but evolution works the same way. Changes happen slowly, so if you only look back a couple thousand years, there wouldn't be much to see. But come back a billion years later, and you bet that dinosaur is no longer a dinosaur.
And frankly, just about when I thought that I had seen it all in the debate realm, hearing about monkeys that surfed from Africa to South America 34 million years ago, and squids and octopuses coming from outer space, just about when I thought I had seen all of the craziest stuff there is that these people teach, then this happened.
But it takes longer than that, Ken. That's the problem. You won't allow us the time. You always tell us that the time is the religion. It's not enough time, Kent. We need more time.
You're painting this as some sort of outrageous claim, but that's simply not the case. I have seen way too many arguments from creationists based solely on the ignorance of the concept of time. I get it, we're human beings. We live for an average of double-digit years, and it's incredibly difficult for us to imagine what a few millions or billions of years may look like. But that's the thing with science. In order to understand various scientific concepts, like evolution, we have to be able to think outside of what we're used to. And for those who are just getting into science, you may find it difficult at first to change your point of view. I feel like the best example of this isn't even evolution, but rather concepts in theoretical physics, things like the expanding universe or dimensions past the third. Nonetheless, it's an important skill to have in the field of science. So your inability to comprehend billions of years does not make the concept false. Stop giving arguments like, there's no way an amoeba can turn into a tiger, because that demonstrates you can't think outside of what you're used to, and that I'm just going to give you the same answer anyway until it gets through your thick skull. If you can simply understand the concept of time, then we can have an actual discussion.
Whenever these people go running to time as their savior, and they'll say, well, give it enough time and all these wonderful things will happen, what they're failing to realize is that things are actually deteriorating over time. Things are getting worse in our bodies. Things are getting worse in the world. The sun is getting smaller. The moon is getting further away from Earth. The Earth is slowing down as in its rotation. And things are getting worse in the universe. Things are deteriorating.
No, things don't deteriorate over time. You're not even assigning an official definition to that word here and instead using it in a general sense. One of the things you said was even wrong. The sun doesn't shrink over time. A star's life cycle will allow it to either grow or shrink depending on its stage, and the next step for our sun is to expand. Also, how's the moon getting further away from Earth some sort of deterioration? Anyway, we do have an official measurement of something that happens over time, and that's entropy. Of course, as a creationist, you've probably heard of that term before, but most likely likely understand it incorrectly. Now, entropy increases as time passes, but that is not the same as things deteriorating over time. I made an entire video explaining entropy and why it is not what creationists think it is. In short, it represents the usability of energy. As time passes, more and more energy is lost and becomes unusable, and that's what an increase in entropy means. It does not say anything about the medium that uses this energy, such as organisms on Earth. This, however, is absolutely unrelated to what you think entropy is or your vague definition of deteriorate.
So, when an evolutionist cries out for more time and they ask you, please give me more time, what they're failing to understand is that over time, the universe is decaying. So, the more time you have, the more the universe decays.
No, it doesn't. I don't care what your vague definition of decay means, but it doesn't. What's decaying about the universe? Sure, its entropy is increasing, but that's not the same as decaying.
And so time actually works for the creationist, not the evolutionist. The evolutionist will claim that time will work in their favor because they believe that things get better over time, yet science states that things actually deteriorate over time.
Do not fucking imply that science is on your side when you are literally trying to oppose a field of science. Your misinterpretation of what science says does not make you right. No one claims that things get better over time. What in the world does that even mean? We use exact measurements and definitions like entropy, which can accurately measure what we're looking at. You should start doing the same.
One of the things that an evolutionist should keep in mind is that the Earth's magnetic field is actually decaying right now. And the Earth's magnetic field actually has a half-life of 1,400 years. Well, if you go back 10,000 years, the Earth's magnetic field would be too strong. It would kill everything on Earth. And so that proves that the Earth cannot be any older than 10,000 years old.
First of all, that half-life was claimed by creationist Thomas Barnes, which is actually wrong. Instead, the actual evidence states that the Earth reverses its magnetic field every 200,000 years or so. But regardless, it doesn't matter. The magnetic field switching may seem like it's some massive detriment to life on Earth, especially to those who don't understand science. Think about it. That just sounds like some apocalyptic event, but in reality, it doesn't really do anything to harm life on Earth. It's gradual and happens over thousands of years, not immediately like what creationists would have you believe. Some life would be impacted, but the majority of life would not be affected in a major way.
And if you go forward in time, in an additional 2,000 years from now, the Earth's magnetic field, since it's becoming weaker and has a half-life of 1,400 years, will be gone in about 2,000 years.
And where did you get that information from, if I may ask? I'm pretty sure that was a rumor that was debunked a long time ago. Not like it matters to the main discussion anyway.
And so with the magnetic field decaying, if it goes away, we will actually die from the deadly radiation coming in from the sun. And so we live in a very narrow span of time. And this demonstrates that the Earth cannot be older than 10,000 years old.
It would indeed demonstrate that, if it were true, but unfortunately it's not. Seriously, you guys really need to get better sources for your information. Lying your way through a debate is not a way to win it.
Time will never support evolutionary theory, as we all know that things do not get better in the universe, they only get worse. And so viruses increase in our bodies.
What? Viruses increase in our bodies? You've got to be kidding me. In what way do they increase? I mean, our bodies are pretty good at eliminating them. Upon infection, they increase in numbers, but they quickly drop once your immune system kicks in. That's such a dumb example to a point that doesn't even make sense. Your overgeneralization of these scientific concepts is not helping your position whatsoever. Anyway, that is the video today, guys. Thank you for watching, and be sure to follow me on Twitter for some cat pictures. Special thanks to all my patrons, especially Fireshard, Liam, Alan Morton, and JN for being top supporters. I'll see you later.